Are you there, Chris?
I'm here. Can you see my screen okay?
Yeah, we can see your screen fine. Go ahead, please.
Okay, great. Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody, and hello from Vancouver. As mentioned, my name is Chris Macleod. I'm a professional services manager and an architect with ESRI Canada. I've been working in GIS for close to 30 years, and I've been with ESRI Canada for about the last 21, around there. And I've been involved in many solution implementations, design implementations, and a lot of them around standards adoption, mainly around metadata, and also OGC web services and other types of standards. So today I'm going to talk about a little bit about ESRI Canada's alignment with ISO standards and other standards and why that's important. And we've selected a few examples across customer projects, infrastructure that we design and maintain, and then also in the product stack, and then I'll summarize, and we can have questions at the end. So this is the context for ESRI Canada for our customers in Canada, and this is obviously shared among everybody here. All these challenges around climate, around economic uncertainty, around aging infrastructure. These are all the types of problems our customers are facing, and we're always looking to come up with innovative solutions utilizing geospatial technology to help our customers address these problems. And our mission statement, we deliver geospatial solutions based on ArcGIS. That's the brand name of ESRI's software platform. And our solutions empower people in business, government, and education to make informed and timely decisions by leveraging the power of mapping and spatial analytics. So essentially, we build the tools in consultation with our customers, and we help our customers implement these tools and the data, supporting data to help them make these decisions. And a lot of the work we do is basically around abstracting the world into maps and layers, and we to aid in that, our software has all kinds of different components to it that enable our customers to build authoritative systems of record, to publish that data, to share that data. And behind all that, the glue around that is our standards. Standards enable that. And one of the focuses of ESRI in recent years has been to build out spatial data infrastructure implementations. We'll talk about a couple of these in the use cases coming up. And again, standards play a very important part of that infrastructure. So why are standards important? Probably I'm just preaching to the choir here and repeating what all these presentations have talked about, but they're essential to ensure consistent, interoperable, and trustworthy spatial data. Nobody wants to work in silos. Fewer and fewer people are working in silos now, and so the critical aspect of working with spatial data is the ability to share it and to integrate it across organizations. Even within organizations, there's lots of challenges around data silos and interoperability. So standards provide the glue and support the ability to make effective decisions at all scales. And some of the aspects of how ISO standards improve data use, they provide that ability to make data interoperable. Just that previous presentation talking about crosswalks between disparate types of data and domain specific standards, but having those kind of common shared standards, so you can build tools around being able to search, tools that support discovery, access, and sharing that data. It also helps improve discoverability and trust. So standards means a common format for how people have provided metadata. They've encoded all the critical aspects, considerations around data usage, lineage, ownership, all those aspects of metadata that make make authoritative data, help make the case for authoritative data so that people know, because it's standardized, they have a good idea of what they can do with it. It also helps reduce integration costs because you're not constantly trying to reformat or try to understand how you need to integrate one format with another because it's standardized. And all these things really help enable a platform for consistent analysis and decision making. So from ESRI Canada's perspective, we utilize standards in our platform to support our customers. So all those items on the previous slide are helped, assisted through standards alignment in our tools. It also helps promote interoperability and adoption to leverage the benefits of authoritative data. And many of our customers across Canada are the authoritative keepers, maintainers of data. So governments at all levels, First Nations, commercial companies, they're all in the business of creating, most of them, creating and maintaining data specific to their business. And that's really that system of record that allows them to support their business and also share that data with other organizations. And standards also allow the ability to drive innovation because once you've kind of reduced a lot of that, overhead and churn around trying to figure out what piece of data can be used where, it helps provide more of a seamless foundation where an organization can now focus on actually doing more interesting work and driving innovation. And then also, even if we don't necessarily in a particular solution or piece of infrastructure, if we're not directly implementing one of the standards, they're kind of always there. They're the best practices embodied in the standards are always guiding our design and implementation of the solutions for data aggregation and sharing. And you'll see a couple of examples of that coming up. So now to the examples. So this first one is around the NG 911 initiative, which aligns with the NINA standard. And this is quite a big program that ESRI Canada has been working on the last few years. And we're assisting our customers tailor their address data so that it will now be suitable for the NG Next Gen 911 solution. And so we built an application to help with this called PSGX, Public Safety Geo Exchange. It's basically a data exchange tool. And it was designed to streamline the flow of public safety grade GIS data into these aggregated repositories to support NG 911. So that data model is primarily the NINA, National Emergency Number Association standard, which was designed for North American interoperability. And it focuses on the NG 911 is a very GIS focused solution for routing 911 calls. And so underneath this are standards. And so WGS 84 in that NINA standard is defined by a number of standards, including the ISO standards. So 19111, referencing by coordinates, and 19161. So this is a good example of a new industry, a new domain solution, improving how 911 is designed and implemented across the country. And rather than going out and inventing a whole set of new standards, just leveraging the ones that exist. And so just another couple bullets about PSGX. So this is it's a solution built with ESRI GIS products. It's a data exchange tool. And it's built on the ESRI platform, and which aligns with a number of different standards. At the infrastructure level, it's the ISO 27000 series, but also the metadata standards and other standards as well. Next example is one of the projects that we recently worked on for Oceans North, and this is around vessel tracking. And I thought actually this one was pretty cool. So we're leveraging ISO standards for temporal schemas to build a solution for tracking vessel movements in the north over a 10-year period. So this was like a big data solution. It was pulling together a whole bunch of vessel AIS point data into a coherent record of vessel tracks. And this project aligned with ISO 19108, the temporal schema standard, using feature connection, massive numbers of CSV files containing raw AIS data, standardizing all these data sets with consistent time formats, and then being able to reconstruct vessel tracks. And so this will help the Oceans North to be able to map spatial and temporal activity in their when they're tracking shipping in the north. Third example is around the actual ESRI ArcGIS products and how standards are constantly evolving within those products. It's a very dynamic, every release, there's always work going on how standards are implemented in the products, and ESRI is always trying to kind of come up with ways to provide better interoperability, to leverage the latest, evolving standards from ISO and OGC and other providers, other standards bodies. And so ISO metadata has been in the platform for many years. I've been doing work with ISO metadata with customers for pretty much since since post FGDC days, I guess you could say. The comment on the previous presentation about the challenges around helping customers adopt ISO due to resource constraints absolutely resonates with me. It's been a challenge for many customers. But the tools are there. They're always evolving. And now ESRI has actually adopted a slight new version of Dublin Core called Dublin Core Plus as the default metadata standard within ArcGIS. And we've seen wide adoption of these standards across many Canadian agencies. So there's an interesting new tool with the introduction of widespread adoption of AI capabilities via AI assistance and agentic AI. So the ESRI platform is being transformed to include AI capabilities, like a lot of vendors are now. And so to build these kinds of tools, metadata becomes much more critical in supporting agentic workflows, because you have to build a knowledge base specific to a data layer or a data set or a map that the AI assistants can consume and build those guardrails and that framework for actually doing something meaningful when you have like a natural language prompt for the application. And so to assist in that, ESRI's built a new item details assistant. It's currently in beta. So item details are essentially metadata that's published as part of when content is published in ArcGIS Online or the ArcGIS Enterprise portal. These are essentially content management systems that are the front end for the ESRI WebGIS software. And so this system will auto-generate your metadata. I think probably a lot of us have been waiting for a tool like that for many years because it takes away a lot of the pain around creating metadata. And so this is we're already starting to use the beta software to help us kind of build these tools. And it auto-generates the item details, and this can be synchronized with your standards-based metadata in those platforms as well. So an interesting tool. And just some other improvements in the platform. ESRI recently introduced a new metadata editor. This is across the platform. It's an ArcGIS Pro and Online and Enterprise. And it's just improving the experience for creating standards-based metadata. And so again, just improving that user experience. So the next use case is the community map of Canada. So I mentioned earlier about ESRI Canada's focus has been on building out spatial data infrastructure. And one of the cornerstones of this is the community map of Canada. It's basically an aggregator of authoritative data from organizations across Canada. So ESRI Canada provides the aggregation capabilities. It's set up hooks into all kinds of open data sites. And it builds this community map, and the community map is published through ArcGIS Online. It's one of the base maps available through ArcGIS Online, and it's constantly updated. It's a very rich data set. It contains, topographic data, environmental data, parcel data, roads, etc. It wasn't necessarily created as an ISO certified product, but it was intentionally designed around ISO aligned principles. So standardized schemas, authoritative identifiers, interoperability, national data governance, all those kinds of things were part of the design considerations. And so if you look at that list, all these sort of aspects of how the community map was designed and built are in alignment with the ISO 19 standards listed here. Yeah, same thing here. And so this is, the benefit of this is it's an up-to-date, authoritative community map aggregating spatial data from many different providers across Canada, and essentially embodying how the ISO, the principles around ISO are supposed to work, right? Cross-organizational, cross-provincial data exchange, aggregating data, providing a consistent, authoritative data experience. Next one is around land management. So again, this is another example of data exchange and data interoperability. And this case is around ESRI has a parcel data solution, which many customers have implemented. And that authoritative parcel solution provides a foundation for integrating with a lot of other different solutions and also sharing with all the other agencies that make use of that parcel data. And so this was a project, the client was the Northern Rockies Regional Municipality. And we assisted how they streamline how the parcel mapping data is consumed from other sources, like Parcel Map BC, which is the authoritative parcel data publisher, BC Assessment. They're kind of the authoritative provider for the province. And so we built a transformation data exchange that pushed it into their environment. So there's a single source of truth for parcel mapping that can ingest. This was one example for one customer, but can ingest from multiple organizations. And again, this will also support integration with the NG911 data manager with that NENA standards compliance. So just a few examples of kind of spatial data infrastructure, of data exchange, and projects where we've utilized standards. Some cases we've directly utilized standards. In other cases, they're kind of there as part of the design and the operating principles. So I just want to finish up with just to summarize. So standards help turn data into infrastructure. So it enables geospatial information to be reliably shared, reused, and scaled. It also supports interoperability by design. So you reduce that overhead, that integration friction by aligning the data models, the metadata, and the services. Everybody's working off the same page, just reduces that overhead involved. It also encourages trust and fitness for use, because without metadata, you really have no idea if that data is authoritative. You don't really know how to use it or how it should be used. And we constantly make we have to really make this argument often to customers about the importance of standards-based metadata, just to really provide that extra level of trust, so that people understand what to do with their data. Lower cost and higher value, so it minimizes that duplication, that overhead, and you don't have to build custom pipelines. Reduces the effort around that while maximizing that investment in data. And then finally, like I mentioned earlier, kind of by reducing a lot of that overhead, you're actually helping organizations build that foundation for innovation, so they can start doing the real work and future uses for around analytics and decision support and digital twins and all those kinds of considerations. So thank you very much. If there's any questions?
Thank you very much, Chris. I thought we really find good examples there of well, standards in action. The one that really caught my eye was the first one where Canada emergency address data. So your actual suggestion there is every time there's an emergency in Canada, TC211 standard, 2 of them are being used. We need to remember that. We do need to tell people that, because the amount of effort, time is put into putting those standards together. In that case, literally, saves lives. Right? So that's your message for today. Go out there and make sure that people know it. If I said that to I'm not teenagers anymore, but my kids are newer teenagers, they would probably say back to me, "Hey Dad, that's cool." So just think on that. Okay, anybody any questions for Chris? No? No? Any questions online as well? You have
just have something for this question.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, thank you for your presentation, Chris. You mentioned the use of Dublin Core Plus as the new metadata going forward. So I was just wondering if you've had any backwards compatibility issues or any of that moving from the previous metadata standard that we planned.
Yeah, that's a great question. And I asked the product team about that, and they say, no, there should be none. If you're not aware, ESRI, the way ESRI has decided to implement metadata is there's a common metadata format called ArcGIS metadata. And so all the standards are implemented as styles. So the way the underlying metadata is stored is in a common format. And that helps with that kind of those migration paths if the standards are evolve or they change. But in the case of Dublin Core Plus, it's completely compliant with with existing metadata.
Okay, thank you.